Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the absolute very last of the PCOSgurl live series for PCOS Awareness Month. I am so excited to be bringing you a very special Instagram live to close out PCOS Awareness Month with your PCOS dietitian, Meggie. So give me 2 seconds because I'm going to add her. Okay. I'm sorry, modern. We want it to, but she'll be coming on momentarily. I think. I think. Hold on 1 second. Just waiting for Meggie to join us. Hi, Meggie. I see you and I accepted your invitation. I am going to give it me 1 second, cancel it, and invite you again.
Hi, I'm sorry.
There you go. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I am doing well. I am so excited that you're here with us this evening because we're going to do a really fun Instagram tonight. We are going to talk about food prep. We're going to talk about types of foods we should be including. And I believe you're also going to show us how to put this all together, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a cooking demo. I've got two of my favorite things that I like to make as like a meal prep. I'm not a big meal prepper, but like things that I like to plan ahead for and I like to make. So yeah, I'm gonna be making the peanut butter chocolate chip energy bites. Um,
Ooh.
I'm making those because I have like a house full of people. So we need like little snacks going on right now. I actually live outside Fort Myers, and so we were hit with the Cat 4 hurricane the other day. I actually have some friends that are evacuating their home right now, and they're on their way here, so they might show up.
It's
Um, so it's like, just come on over, it'll be fine. So we were limited on what we could get for supplies, but I was able to make it. So I'm also going to be doing my version of a grain bowl, but I'm actually using like sweet potato as a base. Just some simple things that you can make and prep ahead of time to make your lunches or dinners a breeze. And I'd love to talk about strategies on how to meal prep and like meal plan too. So that's
I love that. And I'm telling you, the PCOS community, you've just proved it as well, is one of the most resilient communities with both patients and providers because you're here with us tonight after this major hurricane hit. I'm here tonight after I just had a surgical procedure. So that's why you see the pillows in the bed. I'm not lazy, gang. I'm just recuperating. So I am so excited to do this. So let's start off with, why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about yourself and what you do and how you got involved in the PCOS community?
yeah. So I'm Meggie. I am a registered dietitian and PCOS nutrition coach and a culinary nutritionist because for me, food has to be delicious first, and then I'll eat it. But I am also a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a 2-year-old, and I also have PCOS myself. So I really got involved because when I was diagnosed, like long time ago, like 2004, I think. Um, there was no like resources online. Like Facebook had just started, like there wasn't any kind of resources. And I was kind of given that same spiel everybody was. And it wasn't until I went back to school to become a dietitian, because I was like a career changer, that I learned that you can actually improve your PCOS with nutrition. And I was blown away. And I was like, why did no one tell me this? Like, although I was like angry at first because all those years of suffering with like acne and excess hair growth and weight fluctuations and mood swings and carb cravings, I didn't even realize that that was like not a normal thing for a woman. So that's when I kind of I dove into the research when I was doing my master's degree, and I just love working with women with PCOS because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I want to provide evidence-based information for women with PCOS. And I also want people to eat delicious food and not have to follow like stupid, crazy, restrictive diets. So,
Which I love, and I thank you for that because that has been a major issue in our community. Number one, that a lot of times people are pushing what the best diet is, and they're often really restrictive diets. And well, first of all, there's no one best diet for you. It's the diet that is the most sustainable for you. And number two, people, I think, get the word diet confused because the root of the word diet means nurturing your body or nutrition. So when we learn how to nurture ourselves properly, a lot of other things fall into place. So why did you start educating people about how do you start educating people about different types of foods and the best nutrition for them as far as nurturing their bodies with the right foods as opposed to, the restrictive dieting?
Well, I think it's in my career as a dietitian, I've worked in numerous settings. So I see like people get information. Like a lot of times you're given like a list of food or a list of information, but what do you do with that? Like, okay, here's a list of vegetables, but how do I cook them? How do I make them taste good, that I want to eat them, that my family will eat them? Like, that's where I saw a struggle. Like, whether I was in the hospital, I did bariatric surgery for a while. I did dialysis, private practice. That's where everybody struggled, was the implementation. So that's my focus with my practice and like where I want my career path to go, because I don't think it's adequate to just tell you what foods to eat, but I have to show you how to make the foods in your kitchen. Like it's applied knowledge. But I think the most important thing with PCOS is I like to do a lot of information and let individuals know about the science behind PCOS, the physiology of the body. I think it's important to understand insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and improving your gut health, because once you understand what's going on in your body, it's a lot easier to make some changes because you have that motivation in the background. I think even for myself, being a dietitian that's anti-diet, even knowing that I had PCOS and I had to change maybe the structure of my meals, I resisted for a really long time because I didn't want to be someone that had to follow a certain diet or like be categorized as like a diabetic or what, like those kind of things. I think that was the hardest thing. But once I truly understood what was going on in my body, I was able to make those choices a lot easier. And I think that's really helpful for my people that follow me. I provide a lot of information and like my clients, because once it's like knowledge is power. So once you understand what's going on, it's a little bit easier to be like, okay, this is why I need to eat more vegetables. And then from there I go into like both different types and like all the nutrients that it provides. But yeah.
No, that's great, because I think that's really difficult for a lot of us, is we don't realize how diverse foods are and how many good foods there are for our bodies that we may think, maybe I shouldn't have that, because there are also a lot of issues with people as far as being told that you can't have dairy, you can't have carbs, but that's not always true, because you can have complex carbs. So I think trying to figure out what types of foods are right for your particular body, that's really important, and then showing them how to prep. So tell us what's good. Tell us some of the foods that are good for us, that nurture the body, and that are okay, although we might think they're not okay for PCOS.
Well, I guess the first one would be grains. Like whole grains are amazing for PCOS. And that goes against what everybody's heard about going low carb. When you add grains in, I'm not saying you're going to go like super high carb. You're probably like a moderate amount of carbs. Like for a dietitian, I'm thinking 45% of your calories from carbs or something like that, which people might be like, whoa, she's crazy. But whole grains, because they provide so many vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and fiber, and there's a lot of research that's tying whole grain consumption with decreased risk of diabetes.
Wow.
So it's like, we know these foods have health benefits. They're also great sources of magnesium, which will help improve carbohydrate metabolism, which a lot of women with PCOS are low for. So I also think beans, just like a lot of foods that have carbohydrates, which is so funny because we're told to not have them, but they're so nourishing for your body. So grains, beans, legumes, fruits and veggies, like, and nuts and seeds, those are like, honestly, that's the PCOS powerhouse, like that group. If you make your diet a base of that and then add on everything else, add in a little bit of dairy, add in meat, you know, like, as long as that base is those whole grains, beans, fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, that's where the magic is. That's for all health, all individuals, as well as PCOS.
Okay, so you just said something revolutionary that's sticking in my head. So fruit for PCOS is good.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say it's maybe you should shy away from it because of sugar and everything. So maybe that's not so true.
No, so fruit is, there's naturally occurring sugar in fruit called fructose. Okay. But it does have carbohydrates, just like beans or bread or whatever, but it has fiber. It has so much fiber. So when you're meal planning for PCOS, the best way to control blood sugars is to combine food. So you want to have fiber, protein, and fat together, because with your carbohydrate, because that will blunt the effects of the blood sugar levels, right? So if you have we don't want big spikes and big drops, but we want nice rolling hills, because nice rolling hills will result in less of an insulin spike, which is the root of our issues, is when you have all that extra insulin floating around. But fruit is full of fiber. It's full of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and phytochemicals. So phytochemicals are substances that we know that have protective properties in our bodies. Antioxidants help like capture free radicals, which are like, I don't want to get too sciencey, but they do damage to cells in the body. And even if you're trying to lose weight, when you break down triglycerides, when you break down fat, you break them into fatty acids and glycerol. So you actually are releasing free radicals. So you need antioxidants to combat all those free radicals in your body. So one of some of the best sources is going to be fruit, as well as vegetables and whole grains and things like that. So I think that's why I love nutrition, because it's so cool. But yeah, fruit, I think it's best to pair it with a protein or fat for that blood sugar control, but it's delicious.
So I could do things like apples and peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Something like, yeah, oh, I'm good now. I'm really good. So as far as the food prepping part, there are a lot of easy things that we can do to kind of get through, or to make snacks that are good for us and that our family might enjoy, which I think is great, because a lot of times when we have a support system doing the same thing with us, it makes it easier to sustain. So I would love you to talk a little bit about these two wonderful things that you're going to be showing us how to prep tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Because when you have a supportive environment, your environment has to support you, your family, your kitchen, your space, because that's going to help you make those lasting changes. So we're going to make first the peanut butter chocolate chip energy bites. And you can make a whole bunch of different variations, but I just love peanut butter. Like, I'm not an almond butter kind of person, or like, I'm not into the different butters. I like peanut butter and I like chocolate chips. So this is a great snack to make. I like to make these and give them to my daughter too, like for breakfast. So she's 2 and she loves them. So I feel like a 2-year-old eats them, you're pretty much good.
Yes, I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I make a couple other variations of them and she like eats them up. I tell them it's a cookie. Oh, hopefully this stays. I tell her it's a cookie, and then she let me just get my thing a little tighter. There
You're
you go.
fine. You're good. Oh, beautiful.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with, and again, I think one of the biggest things you can do for your PCOS is to actually like cook your food and get away from a lot of the processed foods as much as possible. But it's like I do that so I can enjoy those processed foods when I want, like I try to make it count. I try to practice a lot of mindful eating. So when I'm eating something, I'm truly enjoying it. I think
That
that's a
is
part.
big, big key, because that's another thing with, I think that's so difficult with nutrition with PCOS is we are, again, it goes back to that restrictive
Yeah.
eating and being told you can only eat certain things. And when you get into that like routine and you don't diversify, you're just like, blah, I can't do this. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I just
No,
interrupted you.
you did not. That's a great point. I think that's important to know. It's like nights that I do meal prep, I buy frozen pizza and I eat a bag salad with it. And I'm not going to lie about that because I'm going to cook and chop that night, like cook, maybe cook up a couple of sheet pans, whatever, but I'm going to eat normal things like pizza. And I think it is important where you don't have to give up everything and that you enjoy. I think sometimes we have to look at, where are you overindulging? Are you meeting your health goals? And like, what do you truly love? And then what are you eating just because it's there or it's convenient or something like that? I also do some intuitive eating with some people, and I give them permission to eat whatever they want for like a couple weeks. And like, they'll go for all their favorite things. And after a while, they're like, I don't even really actually like it. Like, I think I do.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Turns out that maybe you don't like it as much as you think you do in your head because you've been restricting it for so long.
Right, right. So listening to our bodies is a big part of this.
Huge part of that, listening to your body, because so many women with PCOS have impaired hunger cues. So like the hunger fullness cues, because they don't know exactly why, but a large percentage do. And I think it could be from dieting, because when you're dieting, you're not trusting your body, you're trusting the diet, right? It's like, oh, well, I can't eat because it's this time, or I shouldn't eat this because this diet said not to have that. So you end up not trusting your body, and your body eventually will stop sending those signals of like being hungry or being full. A lot of people were like, I just can't eat in the morning, but because their body's not sending that signal that they're actually hungry.
Right, but eating breakfast is pretty important for PCOS, correct?
Oh, yes, eating breakfast is one of the first things I always get people to do. It's so important. It sets you up for your day, and it keeps you from overeating later on in the day. It's also great for boosting metabolism as well. And you need to eat to basically replenish your body because it's been fasting all night. That's what you do overnight. You're fasting. So yeah, if clients that say they don't have any energy, or they end up eating like a whole bunch, going to the vending machine or binge eating by the afternoon, usually breakfast will have like a huge impact on that.
Right. So what do we have going on here? I see some oats and I see some peanut butter, I believe.
Yeah. So we got a cup of oats, and I've got half a cup of peanut butter. So I'm going to pop that in. And I like this because you don't even have to get the food processor out. You could just do it all in here. Half a cup of oats. And then I'm going to be using a maple syrup. That's my, well, that was actually, I put a third of a cup of peanut butter. So I had a lot of peanut butter. I might add more oats. This is a third of a cup of maple syrup. You want to use, whatever sweetener of choice that you like. I like the flavor of maple syrup. This is a refined sugar, but you're getting some antioxidants from it. And it just tastes really great. And I feel like I can use a little bit less than other sweeteners.
Gotcha.
And then I'm going to add a little bit more oats because I added quite a bit of peanut butter. So another great thing for PCOS is flaxseed. So, I get it at Aldi's. You can pretty much get it everywhere now. So I'm going to add a quarter cup of ground flaxseed. You want it to be ground because you won't absorb the nutrition. The seeds, you won't digest them. So they'll come out just like they went in. But this is great because it has omega-3 fats in there, and a lot of fiber. Now,
Great. And what about the omega-3 fats? Because that's another thing that I hear a lot of, that we shouldn't be eating fats. So it's not necessarily that we can't eat fats. It's just what type of fats we're eating, correct?
yes. You want to make sure you're getting in a lot of the mono and polyunsaturated fats, which would be things like olive oil and nuts and seeds and avocado and things like that. And then omega-3 fatty acids, let me bring you guys up so you can see me. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory. So, and we need to consume them in the diet. So you can get them from like fish. There's different types of omega-3. Like there's DHA, EPA, and ALA. So certain plant sources like flax seeds or walnuts or hemp seeds have omega-3s, but then seafood provides, a different type of omega-3. But you can get like omega fortified eggs now. You can even get milk that has omega-3 fortification in it. That's the DHA added. Or you could take a supplement too, but I like flaxseed because it's full of fiber, there's protein and healthy fats. And you want more omega-3s because they are anti-inflammatory.
That's awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I am loving Maggie, you're like totally blowing my mind tonight. I'm loving all of this. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm also going to add a bunch of cinnamon because I love cinnamon. It's not in the recipe, but why not? And there is research to show that cinnamon helps with blood sugar control. That's not a therapeutic dose, but I'm still going to add it. And then I'm going to add in a half a cup of chocolate chips. The recipe says mini chocolate chips, but I did not have those. So I'm just going to use regular. I would probably use dark if these were just for me, but they're not. So I'm just going to do the nice sweet. And you could, these are regular chocolate chips. You could do the Lily's chocolate chips if you want, the ones that are sweetened with stevia, whatever you like. I'm not into the artificial sweeteners. I don't like the flavor of them, personally. And I don't like the flavors of most, like bars, like packaged bars and things like that. I don't think they taste that great. So that's why I make these kind of things. I make a lot of like granola bars or energy bites.
Right. And dark chocolate also has antioxidant properties as well, correct?
Yes, dark chocolate has flavonoids and they're antioxidants in there. So they are great for PCOS. And dark chocolate is a great source of magnesium
Love it.
for PCOS. So I always have emergency chocolate in my bag at all times because you never know when you're going to need like some. And it's a lot better to snack on a little bit of dark chocolate than go through the drive-thru and get like a Chick-fil-A milkshake, because I'll do that too sometimes.
Yeah, no, you are a girl after my own heart, I'm telling you.
I call it emergency chocolate, and I'm like, you gotta have snacks on you at all times.
Yes.
Okay, so then all you do is you take them and you shape them into balls, and that's
That
it.
is so easy, and they look delicious.
Yeah, they're so yummy. You can sprinkle a little more cinnamon or whatever. Make sure you got a good shot. Yeah, so good, and everybody will like them because it's peanut butter, oats. They're delicious. Let me just
Chocolate chips. Yep. No, you cannot go wrong with any of those ingredients. And I love this because you're showing people how easy it is to transition into getting these good nutrients into our bodies. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, you can easily add these in. And what that took, if I wasn't talking, it would be less time. But you can make all those up for the week and have it like you could do like 2 or 3 for breakfast with like a cheese stick maybe or a piece of fruit. Or I keep them like, if I leave the house, I'll like bring a baggie of them. So then I have them. So like lunch, or not like lunch, like a snack. Because usually like 3 or 4 o'clock you need a snack or something like that. So super easy. I actually have a bunch in my freezer because I made them before the hurricane in case we lost power. I was like, I need these like energy bites.
That's great. That's great. So let me just talk real quick for a minute while you're setting up for the second thing. You were talking about like snacks in the late afternoon, and 2 things kind of hit me about this, because I've heard a lot of patients who have PCOS after they eat lunch might have like a dip, like almost like a hypoglycemic dip. And is that because we're not like eating enough and keeping things stable through the day, or why does that maybe happen?
Usually the dip, you should be eating every 3 to 5 hours. That's my rule of thumb. If you're going more than 5 hours, then you need to have a snack. If you have that dip, sometimes it's because there's too many carbs at that meal. It spiked your blood sugar too high, and you might have had a lot of insulin floating around because you're insulin resistant, and that's maybe like you're prone to that. So then it will drop your blood sugar really, really quickly, which is what you don't want. So sometimes I like to look at that meal, that previous meal. So was there fat, was there fiber, was there protein with that carbohydrate? And I find that if it was just like a simple carbohydrate, maybe like a bagel with cream cheese, you're really not getting a lot of nourishment. But if you added like eggs or like cream cheese and smoked salmon or something like that and veggies on top, you're getting all the other nutrition that's going to stabilize your blood sugar a little bit longer. So that's usually the case for that. Yeah,
Awesome.
hope that helps.
Awesome.
Okay.
So what is the next wonderful little trick you have for us?
Okay, so the next one that I'm going to make is just like a version of how to build a grain bowl, but it's going to be like a veggie bowl because I didn't make any grains. So, I'm going to make a dressing first. So one of my tips for meal prep, there's a few, there's different strategies to meal prep. I have like 9 different ones I do in my course because everybody's like different, right? I recommend like doing some veggie prep, making a dressing, basically like kind of creating what I'm doing here so you can easily assemble a meal. But I like to first kind of pick like a dressing for the week. That way you can add it to anything. You could make it to salads. You could grill simple proteins and roast veggies and then just add dressing to it to make it like taste amazing.
Yeah.
Or you can mix it with yogurt and make a dip, like whatever you want. So I'm going to make a quick dressing real quick. So I'm going to use some extra virgin olive oil, which I think you should be consuming like every day when you have PCOS. Cooking in it, dressing things in it. Probably use like maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons. I should measure it, but I make this so often, I'm just going to eyeball it. I like to make them in the jars so I can shake and then I can keep in their fridge. Then I use, I like apple cider vinegar a lot with my dressings because I'm going to make a Dijon mustard maple syrup, like maple dressing. Yes, it's delicious. So I'm just going to add like a tablespoon or so of the apple cider vinegar. I like the raw one, unfiltered, because it has the mother in it. So there's probiotics in here. So that's a great way to get more fermented food into your diet.
Right, and that's been a big thing lately, that more and more, a lot of nutritionists and dietitians are using the fermented food with PCOS. And that's because there's a lot of research that's coming out about the connection between the hormones and the gut microbiome, I should say.
Yes, it's fascinating area of research. I love it. So any ways that you can get more probiotics in your diet, that's fantastic. And then we're going to add prebiotics with all of these delicious, amazing foods because you have to first introduce the bacteria, but then you have to feed it, right? So you have to give it fiber to feed off of. So then I'm going to add in some Dijon mustard, like a teaspoon or so. This helps emulsify it. And it just tastes, actually I might add a little bit more since it's Dijon dressing. But traditionally, this is a vinaigrette. It's basically like oil and acid and Dijon mustard. And the mustard will emulsify it. And even if you don't like mustard, like I'm never like a mustard person on like a hamburger, but I like it in a dressing. Then I do a good pinch of salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add some maple syrup because it's a maple mustard. And I have a recipe for this too if people want it. Just eyeballing everything. And then you just shake it.
So simple. I have a really important question for you. Would you consider adopting me? Because
yes, no problem.
oh my goodness, this is awesome.
Come on down to Fort Myers. It's so funny. Everybody's always like, can you just cook for me? And I'm like, man, that would be my dream life if I could just cook all day. Yeah. I enjoy it. Yeah. So next we're going to assemble the, it's like a grain bowl, salad kind of thing, but there's like a couple components that I like to utilize. So that way you're getting a good base and ratio of carbs, proteins, fats, flavors, textures, that kind of thing. And I have a handout on this as well. So I have the recipe for the peanut butter energy bites and the handout. I'm going to be posting in my Facebook community. It's the PCOS Nutrition and Lifestyle Change Support Group. So you can join that, or you could just DM me and then I will just send them to you. Like either way.
You are the best. Yeah, I definitely want these recipes.
They're so good. And I also do monthly live cooking demos on my Instagram. So you can sign up that way too. There's like a link in my bio.
Yeah, you have actually something pretty exciting coming up for October, right?
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm calling it Croctoberfest.
Love that.
So, so it's Oktoberfest or whatever, but I'm going to do a crockpot Oktoberfest. So every day in the Facebook community, I'll be posting a new crockpot recipe for October, and they'll have like a challenge in there. So if you comment, if you make food, it's like you make post a picture, things like that, you'll win a prize at the end of the month if you have the most points. So
I am living for this right now. I'm so excited. And I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you while you're doing your demonstration. I apologize.
You don't need to apologize at all. No, I'm glad you mentioned that because I like the ease of a crock pot. I like it as a way of like a strategy for meal planning where maybe on like a Sunday, I'll be making like lunch and I'll just chop everything up and put it in the crock pot, or breakfast or something like that. Or I'll utilize it when I'm cooking other things. And I think that's a good strategy for meal planning. For me, I can do multiple things at once. So for me, I rather make something in the oven, something on the stove, and something in my crock pot or my Instapot. And then I've got like multiple days worth of food. And then I like to do dishes like once. And so that's like, that's what I like to do. I also like to cook large quantities of food because it's really not that much work to do like a dish for 8 instead of 4. So that's like one of my other strategies that I work with people. And that's like with the meal plans that I have, it's really great because you can scale the recipes. So if you like something, you could just add on like 2 servings easily and it will change all the ingredients. So then you could just make like your lunches for the week or whatever.
I love that.
Super easy tip. So let me just scooch this down real quick so you guys can see again. Okay. So I'm going to start off with a base. So start off the base. You usually like to have a good ratio of carbs and fiber. You want to do a base of like some greens or veggies with like a grain. Because if you do too many grains, like 2 cups or something like that, that might be too much for you at that meal. Everybody's a little bit different. So it's important to know like your own activity level, your own carb tolerance, that kind of thing, your own goals. So I like doing cabbage because it lasts a long time. So like if you chop up cabbage, it will stay like crispy. So this is like the best meal prep thing. Arugula and spinach, everything else wilts, but cabbage stays crispy. So I'll make up like salads, like vegetable salads with grains and things like that, and mix everything together because I'm choosing a lot of ingredients here that aren't really wet. And I'll show you what that means. So it's not like there's no tomatoes, there's no cucumbers, because they don't hold really well. So that's another one of my tip is like choose vegetables like roasted veggies and fresh veggies that stay like hold up well. And then I'm going to add I roasted some sweet potatoes. So I roasted these veggies, these sweet potatoes and this broccoli tonight while I was cooking pasta with like a sausage tomato sauce and made a salad. So you see how you can do more than one, you can always roast a sheet pan of veggies. That's my motto. So I'll just add some sweet potato. So that's going to be like my carbohydrate. Plus I'm adding some beans because I love beans. So I'm doing the sweet potato, about 1/3 of that. So 2/3 of the base will be a green of some sort or cabbage, and then 1/3 will be a sweet potato. Not 1/3 of a cup, but just 1/3 of it or something like that. Then I'm going to add some protein. I'm going to add some chickpeas because they're my favorite. And beans are a natural source of inositol. So we should be eating more of them.
Like that is amazing. I never knew that.
Yes. I'm actually coming out with like a new blog post soon for it's a buckwheat pumpkin muffin, and buckwheat and pumpkin are both natural sources of inositol. So it's like these are foods that we want to add to our diet.
So truly food can be, for lack of a better term, medicine for us. Yes. Certain things have certain benefits. So that's amazing.
Oh, yes. I mean, medicine has its own place. Like I'll never shame someone for taking medicine when they have PCOS, but foods really can be medicine for us because we need to improve the inflammation in our bodies. That's going to help improve our gut health. That's going to decrease insulin resistance. It's going to decrease a lot of your symptoms. So food, it can be anti-inflammatory if you're adding the right foods in. And that's the key. I focus on what we can add to our diets, not what we have to take away. Okay, so let me just put this back on so you guys can see. So I added some roasted broccoli. I'm just adding some bell peppers that I cut up I had in my fridge. So you do some protein, and then you just add some fiber. You could do the pre-cooked, like the broccoli, or you could do raw, so you get different textures. If you are, you can keep this separate and build every day, or if you're gonna make like a big bowl of it, then I would try to leave out like cucumbers and tomatoes, just because they're gonna won't hold really well.
Right. Sorry about that.
Textures. So that's the next component, is you want to have like good textures in like bowls and salads. So this is just some sunflower seeds, because you want to have textures, healthy fats. And then I'm also going to add cranberries, because it's like 'tis the season to add some dried cranberries.
That's awesome. And
then I love scallions. The next one will be like a flavor booster. So I find scallions they make everything better. I mean, honestly. So I always add scallions. Like when in doubt, add a scallion and some feta, and it will taste better. That's my
Oh
motto.
my God, I am so with you on that.
Yes. And unfortunately, I couldn't find feta at the store because of, the hurricane. So otherwise I would be adding feta right now. But what I'm going to add is my dressing I made. So then you just drizzle the dressing on top.
That looks absolutely delicious.
Delicious. Yeah, delicious. It's full of different colors, which means tons of antioxidants and phytochemicals. It's anti-inflammatory, but it's delicious, and you're getting different flavors. You're getting the crisp, bell peppers, the roasted veggies, the beans, and you can roast up I roasted the broccoli and the sweet potato while I was cooking dinner tonight, and then everything else is just like you just chop up a couple things for the week. So you could get this could be lunch for the whole week. This could be your dinners, however, it depends on how much your family eats. My husband eats a lot, so I usually have to cook every night.
Let me ask you a question, because I noticed with the dishes that you have like all these different colors, and you said textures. So what is it about colors and textures that might entice us or increase our appetite or be more appealing to us?
Yeah. Well, we eat with our eyes, right? And things need to look good to want us to eat it. Like no one wants to eat baby food or pureed food because it looks horrible, but it's the same food. It's just pureed. Like it's the same thing. Texture it's part of the satisfaction. That crunch is just part of like the psychology of eating. When things are creamy or crispy or tangy, like we have to remember that we have to satisfy all the senses, like, and all the flavor senses when we're eating. So things have to have balance. They have to have like salt. They need to have fat. They need to have acid, bitterness, umami. Like that's all important when like cooking. So I like to add textures into my salads because it makes it interesting. I mean, I don't like salads. I like all the things that go on top of a salad. So I try to find strategies in my life. So like this is like the perfect salad to me. If I had some whole grains, I would actually love to have that, because that's what I love adding. But I like the texture of it. Me personally, I don't like just lettuce in a salad.
Right. No, I have to thank you, because this was so important to talk about tonight, to allow people to have joy when they're eating. I mean, because again, I hear so many people say, I'm so miserable because I'm eating this and that, and I'm doing everything that I possibly can, and I'm still not losing weight. And you're kind of redefining that by showing people you can enjoy food, and when you eat the right foods, then your body is going to be is going to regulate itself, and things are going to happen naturally. So I think that's a huge message and a huge takeaway. So I thank you for that. So a couple of things I would love you to tell people. I know you talked about your group and everything, but once again, if you could tell everybody where to find you, because you're phenomenal, and I hope that this is like the first of many IG lives that we do together. But I would love everybody to be able to connect with you, because it's just great. You're great.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And you summed everything up perfectly. Like bringing joy back to eating is like the most important thing. Stop worrying about the weight loss, because weight is a symptom of PCOS. And when you nourish your body and you take care of yourself, that's when weight loss will happen, if it's meant to happen. I think that's important for people to know. Like myself too, like I've struggled with weight issues with PCOS too, where it's stressful situations in my life, I gained 30 pounds. And it wasn't until I stopped focusing on weight loss, even as a dietitian, and I just was like, you know what, this is my body now. I'm going to enjoy that. And I nourished my body. I slept, I walked, I did yoga, I sleep. That was like the biggest thing. That's when things shifted. So I want people to know, like, nourishing your body and taking care of yourself is the most important thing, and everything else will follow if it's meant to be. So I just like to point that out. But yeah, so you can follow me. Well, I'm at Your PCOS Dietitian. My website is Be Balanced Nutrition RD. So that's Be Balanced Nutrition RD. Because that's the name of my company, Be Balanced Nutrition, because that's really what it's all about. You have to have a balance in life. I'm also on Facebook. It's the PCOS Nutrition and Lifestyle Change Support Group. So you can hop on, you can go in there. I'll be posting the handouts in there. Or if you don't have Facebook, you could just DM me and then I can email them to you. I do live monthly cooking demos on Instagram. I might be switching to like Facebook to use StreamYard. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, so you can join me there. You can sign up in my bio. So I will email you all the recipes as well. So yeah.
And Meggie, I'm also going to add you as a collaborator because I'm going to keep this on my timeline because I think everybody needs to watch it, first of all. And secondly, when I add you as a collaborator, anything that you want to add in as far as your links or more information, you can just go in there, edit it, and put all of your information in there.
Perfect. I'll do that because I have my blog and I'm working on it. I'm adding, it's going to be a lot of recipes and information on there. So that's a great place to go as well. Yeah. And I have a cooking course I'm launching in November. So if you're interested in learning more about it, I just started the beta testing for it, but it's designed to teach you exactly what to eat for PCOS, but how to eat it as like how to make it as well. I think that applied knowledge is perfect. And Kimberly was on here and she's one of my beta testers. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, like DM me. It launches November 1st. It's going to be $197. It's 12 modules. It goes over all the different food groups and has a whole module on meal planning and convenience cooking. And it's going to have like a whole module on PCOS nutrition, the physiology and all that stuff that we talked about.
Okay, I will be signing up for that. I am sold. After tonight, I am sold. So that's wonderful. Meggie, thank you for coming on, even, after everything that happened in Fort Myers and just, being here for the community. I really appreciate your time and your compassion and your love for all of this. It empowers me, and I'm sure it's going to empower others as well. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for doing all this month. Like, you're amazing. I don't know how you did it all. Like every day, all the information. I mean, you are like, to this community, like you're a rock star. So we need more people like you. So I really appreciate the way to come out and show people and share. And I want to get the information out. I want people to know, like, not to be scared of food and to enjoy it. So yeah, thank you so much. And Kimberly's on. She's in the course and she's loving it. So yay!
Yay! Awesome, Kimberly. I'm going to be joining you. I'm serious. So everyone, thank you so much for spending the month with me and with all of my special guests, learning, helping educate other community members, and advocating and empowering. It's been one of my favorite PCOS awareness months. I hope you will continue past September to continue to raise awareness and become informed and pass that information on to others. As always, love to all of you. Meggie, love to you. And have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.